Why do you guys think that people, like, that this industry hasn't attracted young people?
I don't think it's an attractive industry when you have, we created a culture in America and most like developed countries where everyone's going to college compared to previous generations, and everyone's idea was become a lawyer, a doctor, go into tech, this and that, and it's like selling power tools and equipment. There's no 8-year-old kid who's rah-rah about that, or most of them aren't.
Can't wait to sell power tools.
Yeah, exactly. It's, I think, right there. That's the big problem.
Yeah.
Or somebody that uses power tools may be an embarrassment to the family.
Sure.
Exactly.
What they were saying today.
What John said this morning.
Yes,
Yeah.
that resonated for sure.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't want my son to be a plumber. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, we've
don't wanna do
trained
that.
ourselves to walk away from these different trades and to encourage our children to go other routes, right?
Right.
Yet a licensed journeyman plumber electrician makes anywhere from, on the low end, $70 to $150 an hour.
Yeah.
Who graduates college and makes
Yeah.
that? Even doctors and lawyers graduating
Don't
do
walk
not
out with
start there.
They don't. My
And
little
you do
brother-
as a journeyman. You start.
That's right.
That's your baseline.
With no loans to pay off.
No
Yeah.
loans.
Yep.
I mean, do you think money's going to be a driving factor to recruit young people
Definitely.
back into it?
Definitely.
At the end of the day,
Money,
people
money's
are
a
working.
recruiting factor no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're
at the
all
end of the
working
day,
for it.
compensation is really the driving force of culture.
Yeah.
And the driving force of the people that you have in your business.
Yeah.
And these millennials, as we know, want to walk out and get this journeyman wage.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
if you can manage a way to recruit these people and entice them with money,
Yeah.
and then you start taking your chances with them,
Yeah.
that's where you succeed.
Yeah. And it was interesting listening today to Tom Leahy and talking about leadership. And you look at Border, and just the people they have and the young people, but he's pouring into those folks, and they've got behind them and trained them and involved them and things like that.
So recruiting them is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Right? You get them in your door, and then you have to invest in them.
Yeah.
And with training, with money, with opportunity, with skill sets that they can't
Yeah.
just go out and get.
Yeah. So looking at Sphere1, so talking with a lot of our members, right? A lot of them struggle. It's like, man, they can't find the people. When they find them, they can't relate with them. But I think the big thing is they can't find them, and they think they see the need that they need them, but they don't want them, sort of deal. Why do you think these guys are struggling with it?
Traditionally, most companies will post today on something like Indeed, and millennials, I don't believe, are going to Indeed to look for jobs.
Yeah.
They're looking through social media.
Yeah.
And Indeed is not social media. When we post an ad on Indeed, the responses that we get, we'll set the criteria. Let's say a 4-year degree is part of the criteria,
Yeah.
right? That's a requirement to apply. We'll get, out of 100 responses, 75 of them will be guys that don't have college degrees, that are in their 40s.
It happens all the time.
It doesn't work,
Yeah.
right? Millennials are not going there to look for a job.
Yeah.
So we need to advertise or look in different areas. And I think social media is an avenue that we don't look at.
Do
Typically,
you
when-
currently advertise
I
for
don't.
social media? Got
No,
it.
but we're just thinking, how are we going to do this? How do we get younger people to look at us
Sure.
instead of whatever other avenue they may be looking at? How do we get them into CFC?
Yeah.
So it's interesting because one of the things I remember when we had discussed this earlier was about the style of the ad that we might write. And I think a lot of this Sphere1 membership could benefit from maybe a younger person in the company writing the ad rather than,
Sure.
upper management.
HR
It might
director.
be- exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not going to resonate
It's
with,
very poignant
a young
and-
guy or gal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said just for that, in and of itself. It's interesting, the social media angle. We personally don't do that. I don't know if you guys do.
We don't either.
We use Indeed.
Indeed. And ZipRecruiter, actually.
Yeah,
ZipRecruiter's done
ZipRecruiter
very
as
well.
well.
But maybe,
for us.
yeah.
Do you guys use LinkedIn?
No, but that's actually
That's a
a great
no.
idea. There's your social media right there,
Yeah,
because
that's-
LinkedIn is a form of social media.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you guys a question. So, obviously you guys have been able to be somewhat successful in recruiting some young people to work with your companies. Sean, what's your company like now with the young people that work there, the millennials, and how has that changed your culture of your company and what you guys are doing?
I think out of our 20 or so employees, we might be at conservatively like 60% are millennials, if I had to guess off the top of my head.
And that's obviously going to create a culture of like young, ambitious guys who are excited for the future, and they know they're joining a company that has young leadership, which is exciting. Going, you know, to backstep a little or backpedal a little, going back to the advertising. You know, if young guys or gals see that a company has someone steering the ship who's like-minded, of their age, and it's growing and there's opportunity, and they're not just hopping into a sales position that's just punching the clock, nothing's going on, that in and of itself, that's unattractive to, you know, anyone, right? Like,
Sure.
why not? And if you're looking for good talent that's ambitious and driven, they want to make a name for themselves, of course they're looking for leadership in a company that's making a name for itself.
Sure.
And we've been able to get some of those guys, and they are guys who, you know, every day it's almost become a problem where they have something to say about, you know, every process
Yeah.
or every
Sure.
workflow, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, these guys give a crap. You know,
Yeah,
they
care.
want to say, hey, this, that. And
Yeah.
again, going back to guys, you know, in the past we have guys just punching the clock,
Yeah.
and that's not what you want. It's nice to get done, but we want to get, you know,
Yeah.
more done.
And it's easy. It's an easy way out.
Yeah, and
you
that's a dime a dozen. You know,
Yeah.
you're looking for that guy who's gonna, not to use an overly used term, but disrupt, you know,
Sure.
the current state of
Yeah.
affairs. And it's like, anyone who can tell me what we're doing wrong and then provide a proposed solution to fix that's fantastic. And a lot of those young guys we find do that.
So Patrick, I want to ask you a question, because you're a part of two different companies.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Titan Tool, who's selling on job sites
Yep.
and doing that as a sales force, and you have Tool Barn, that's an e-commerce
Yes.
site. What are those two different companies like from just the teams that you have running those two different companies?
They're drastically different. So the e-commerce piece is, I'd call it 95% millennial.
Yeah.
And they embrace it, and I think in part is due to the technology. But I think part of, and I'm going to steer away from your question just for half a second, because
Yeah.
I want to go back to what he was saying. Part of what detracts or scares some people away from this industry is the leadership, right? You look around in here, and there's a lot of gray hair,
Yeah.
right? And some of the younger guys like myself and you guys, when you're coming in to interview, and you're interviewing with this guy, and even some of the younger millennials, it's almost intimidating. I have to deal with this guy now,
Right.
because he's way older than me, and he's set in his ways, and this, that, and the other, and you know, whether they had a bad experience in the past job or whatever the case may be, I think it's an intimidation factor, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Having a young leader in there, like you or myself or Blake, to where this person is coming in and interviewing with me or interviewing with you. Hey, I'm a young guy, and I want you to do what you're going to do.
Yeah.
I want you to take off, and I want you to run with it.
Yeah.
Job descriptions. We take our job descriptions and hand them to our people that are in the positions and say, read this and tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Because then we can post it, and if he likes it, then I know the rest of the people that I'm trying to recruit are going to like it.
Yeah.
Right? The retail, going back to your question here, the retail side of our business hasn't grasped onto it as much.
Yeah.
We have some younger guys, and specifically in our Lincoln branch, Chris Whitney, he's a younger guy, he's totally a millennial, and he operates his branch much more efficiently
Yeah.
and much different than our other two branches do.
Yeah.
Because we have older leadership in there. I'm not
Yeah.
saying they do a bad job, but it's a totally different spectrum, because
Right.
he sees it in a different way than the older guy does,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Do you guys look at it from the standpoint that it only takes maybe one strong young leader to get into your company that can help change the face? Because at the end of the day, you think you had said it, Patrick, the young leadership recruits young leadership, right? What do? We come in, we recruit our friends, we recruit the
Definitely.
people we know, and they come in
Absolutely.
and they're like, I relate to you because you're young. You know, I mean, do you think that it just, you know, it's not overwhelming to where it's like I have to change my whole workforce, but I just need one person, two people that really buy in? Do you think
Yes.
that makes sense?
Yes. And that's all it takes. One person to start, and then it snowballs, right? Like
Yeah.
you said, you recruit your friends. We put in an incentive to get people in the door.
Yeah.
And all the millennials in our business, all of a sudden has 5-6 referrals.
Yeah.
Right? Hire this guy, hire this guy, hire this guy. And we hire those people, and they do very, very well.
Yeah.
For two reasons: because they're working with a buddy,
Yeah.
and because they're working with other people that are like-minded and
Yeah.
of the same age group, right?
Yeah.
And they can sit around a table just like we're doing and throw ideas back and forth and not be offended,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes when you're meeting with some of the older generation, and hey, almost like you said, it's becoming a problem, right? And so when I'm sitting there battling with somebody who's much older than I am,
Yeah.
you can see almost that they're taking it offensively.
Yeah.
Like I'm attacking them, I'm attacking the way they do business.
Yeah.
And that's not it at all. I see this differently, and I want to change it, and it's going to make us better.
Yeah.
But you have to get over that hump, and And I think getting one person in, a single millennial,
Yeah.
is the beginning.
Yeah. Blake, so Patrick and Sean, I think you guys have a unfair advantage because you have sexy e-commerce sites, right? And it's like you reach out to millennials.
Definitely.
Blake, I think you represent much of our members, and I mean, and I think at the end of the day, getting to know you, looking for, let's just say your sales, your next sales guy, selling on job sites. Now you were born and raised,
Yep.
in your business, and your dad taught you that, and it's just been inbred in you. Has it been hard to find young people to embrace that type of sales position and get involved in your company?
For sure. Yep. Face-to-face selling in a job site is extremely high pressure.
Yeah.
And most of the folks you're selling to are 40 years old or older and different generation, different background. It's really hard
Yeah.
for a younger guy to be able to, or girl, to be able to relate to them and for the customer to relate back to you.
Yeah.
And I first caught up and understood that just within our organization as I started selling and moving up and changing the way things were done at CFC. The guys that had been with the company for a long time didn't like that. They didn't
Yeah.
want to see a young millennial guy come in and change the way the company operated,
Yeah.
who we sold to, what we sold, and how we did it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to change everything that we did. And in 2008, when everything changed to 2010, everybody that was there before that was gone.
Yeah.
They couldn't operate with me. They couldn't operate with the way this young guy was coming in and changing things. So we had to revamp the whole sales team, and going after millennial kids, guys to come in and sell has been extremely challenging. One, to find somebody that wants to do it, and two, somebody that can hack it. Someone
Yeah.
that can hack rejection, smack you right in the face rejection
Yeah.
if you don't know your stuff and you can't go in and have that conversation. So that's been a real challenge, but we've found success with younger kids that have worked in the trades that we sell to,
Yeah.
and bringing them up into the organization, and so they know the product before they come in.
Yeah.
And most of the time, those kids are in the trade because somebody in their family was.
Yeah.
And trade contractors, I think universally across the country, are just, their reputation is hard-nosed guys.
Yeah.
They're really,
Rough and tumble.
really tough. So to bring somebody from the outside that doesn't know that world has been a monumental challenge. We've went
Yeah.
through and chewed through a ton of sales guys.
Yeah. I think one of the things, and I want to ask you this, because maybe looking at how a millennial yourself, right? Now you've grown up in the business, but talking with like your friends at DeWalt, you know what I mean, and then bragging on you a little bit, is, they talk about your level of communication, utilizing technology, just utilizing the way of being a millennial, always being on, always being responsive. That's been one of the biggest reasons that you've been successful, is that you've been able to hack it and be face to face with them and go boots to boots, but at the end of the day, you're giving them what they need faster than maybe the older guy was.
Sure.
Is that something that,
Sure,
again,
so-
I'm
so I'll
repeating
tell
stories
you,
that I've heard
this is-
from guys talking about
this-
this, so.
I follow Jeffrey Gittimer, sales coach. You can look him up. He's awesome for any company's sales team if you follow his information. But probably 6 or 7 years ago, I read something where he said you need to get creative with your voicemail on your phone, right?
Yeah.
I'm always connected to my phone. It's with me 24 hours a day. So I just started tinkering around. So I changed my voicemail, and I think it still says it today, but it says, if I'm with a customer right now, so you can leave a message, but if you want a faster response, you can text me or you can email me, right? I just retooled my voicemail to say that. Just text me or email me. I can probably answer you quicker than I can get to your voicemail. But when I did that, it was like earth-shattering.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was like the light bulb went on
Yeah.
to so many of my customers. I started getting texts, and all of a sudden, one of my largest customers, their whole team switched their voicemail to say that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it was always, they always brought it up, that was so cool, that was so cool. And it also is a way to be more available. So the older guys that maybe weren't used to texting, just used to using a phone call, if I'm telling them, hey, I'm probably with somebody, just text me. And it's not that big of a deal to grab a phone, right? And I can hurry and
Yeah.
shoot a text off. So that was a huge, that simple little stupid thing
Yeah.
was a total game changer.
Yeah.
Back to your question, Mike, when did being always on turn into a fault?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, growing up, it's, hey, if you respond quick,
Yeah.
you're going to have more influence,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so
exactly.
when did that become a fault?
Right.
But it is to a lot of the older generation.
No, I totally
right?
agree,
I dealt with it this week with some guys from a tool company that'll remain unnamed. My customer calls me, needs a response. I call my rep and I need a response now, right now, not in 3 hours. And if you can't do that for me, the deal's gone.
Yeah.
Not gone for me, but it's gone for you. I'm going to go to another manufacturer
Exactly,
that can
yeah.
get me that information.
Yeah.
Where maybe I don't even need to call them. I've got it somewhere where I have the autonomy to make the deal, whatever it is I need to do.
Yeah.
They're going to make me whole, and I know that.
Yep.
Yeah. So let me-
Funny, it's like you hear all these knocks on millennials about, they want it now, this and that, but like, what's the flip side of that? It's like they're super freaking efficient,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Super efficient.
we grew up with this technology that makes us always on.
Right.
And like you were saying to the older generation, maybe it's like burdensome, right? That idea of
Yes.
like, oh, I got an email, I'm not, I don't type that quickly, but for us, it's like, this isn't hard for me to type. And even though at dinner, it's like, whatever, man.
Right.
Like,
It's
I'm
common.
I can
making
deal.
it happen.
I
Like,
can deal with
it's
3
worthwhile.
customers that aren't in the room with me while I'm in the room with another customer,
Exactly.
and take care of all of them at the same time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a seismic shift.
Yeah.
It's funny how there's a joke going around. Usually, if somebody emails me and I don't respond within 2 hours, hey, sorry for the delay on this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so the joke is, what took you so long?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So to your point, it creates that efficiency,
Yeah.
right? And you're able to take care of more, and you're able to do more because you're always on your phone,
Yeah.
and you're always responding.
Yeah.
And that's
My-
okay.
My best reps are 25 to 35, my manufacturer reps.
Mine too.
And I get answers back that are like so quick that it's kind of a pain in the ass. Like I send an email and I'm like, all right, cool, I don't have to deal with that. And then like a
Yeah.
text comes through 5 minutes later, I'm like, oh, I'm dealing with it again. Like, I thought it was on his shoulders for like a day and a half.
Yeah. Yeah.
But those are the guys at the end of the year that I'm like, that's my dude. And those
Yeah.
are the vendors that, we're having banner years with, where
Right.
with the old guard, it's those guys get left in the dust.
I'm impressed that you have reps that are that age. I have no independent
Really?
reps that are in that category. None.
I have a few too,
Yeah.
and they're honestly the best ones. I mean, I can go through and
Yeah.
you can pick out the best relationships with your vendors are usually the ones that are like-minded, and
Yeah.
that goes with any generation, right? The boomers, those guys get along best with the boomers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The millennials, they get along best with the millennials.
Yeah.
And so you put someone in that position, into a rep position,
Yeah.
or even a position within your company, and all of a sudden there's that instant level of connection,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't got to know you very well to send you a text,
Yeah.
right?
Think about how well we all got along from the day we met.
Instantly.
And what we realized, I think yesterday, we have all ever been together once for an hour.
Right.
And we've had a gajillion meetings, been on webinars, videos, all those other things. And when we all saw each other, it's like, hey, like
What's
we're
up,
all pretty
buddy?
tight
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like we've all ever seen each other for a freaking hour.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's wild. And
Yeah.
that's that millennial use of, the technologies that
Right.
we grew up with to
Yeah.
augment our ability to do business at, a heightened level. And I think that's super valuable.
So do you guys think everybody that's going to tune in, do you think this is a solvable issue? Do you think we can recruit you guys are all millennials and you work in this industry.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is like something that we can, that can be solved?
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we ourselves have solved those issues. I mean,
Yeah.
there's always going to be hurdles and, a crux to every, context or environment. But it's there if you want to put the time and effort in. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of the Sphere1 membership, they could look to, younger employees that are currently in their organization
Yeah.
to maybe be like, why did you choose to work here?
Yeah.
Or like, what would get you to bring a friend on board? Like,
Right.
why don't you have friends interested in this? It ain't the hardest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And people are dying, retiring, and they need to figure things out. I mean,
Right.
because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, with technology, if we don't all figure it out, it's like Amazon's coming in hot and heavy.
And they'll take over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without a question.
Yeah.